In this video, I'm going to be talking about the 2019 Planetary Ingresses. That's when planets change signs. Hi, I'm Alison Price. I'm an astrologer in Vancouver, Canada. I've been studying and teaching astrology for many years, and I've helped thousands of people just like you. On this channel, you can expect to discover astrological insights and advanced astrology topics. All the times and dates in this video are set for Universal Time, which is old GMT. If you love astrology, write your sun sign in the comments below. Okay, so what is an ingress? An ingress is a term astrologers use when a planet moves from one sign to the other. A good example is this: is the sun, which moves each month. It moves into a different sign. It goes from Cancer to Leo to Virgo, and every month there is a movement, and we can pretty much predict that because you know what your sun sign is. So it's generally around the 21st of each month, give or take a few days, the sun will change signs or ingress. But the other planets move as well, and they change signs on a different cycle to the sun. Now the moon is the fastest moving planet, and that changes signs around every 2.5 days, and I'm really not going to be talking about that here today. I'm going to be talking about the other planets and when they're moving and changing signs, and really what this means for you. So we're going to look at this for 2019. So I'm going to start first with January. On the 1st of January, Mars moves into Aries. So it's going from Pisces into Aries. Now this is a good thing for Mars because Mars is the planet of energy, drive and competition. And it wasn't sitting very well in the sign of Pisces, and it's now gone home into Aries because Mars rules Aries. Mars is now more comfortable there. This is a sign that from day one of 2019, we can get things done. There's going to be the energy and drive to be able to do this. On January the 5th, Mercury moves into Capricorn. This is actually an improvement for Mercury because Mercury was not well placed in Sagittarius because it's a sign of detriment, but in Capricorn, it's feeling a lot better. On January the 7th, Venus enters Sagittarius, and this is pretty much going to be, I'm not saying this is not different to when it was in Capricorn, but Venus in this position is neither elevated nor restricted. On January the 20th, the Sun will move into Aquarius. Now this is its sign of detriment. The Sun will be slightly held back at this point because the individual within the group doesn't work as well. On the 24th, Mercury goes into Aquarius, so it's moving on through the zodiac. On February the 3rd, Venus moves into Capricorn to bring more formality and restrictions even to love and money. On February the 10th, Mercury moves into Pisces. This is now its sign of detriment, so there will be some reduction in conversations and all deals and things ruled by Mercury. On February the 14th, Mars moves into Taurus. This too is its sign of detriment, so the competition and drive of when Mars was in Aries is now changed. There's been a shift in the energy and things will be held back. People will be more inclined to want to sit on the bench than get out and play on the field. Then on February the 18th, the Sun moves into Pisces. It's come out of Aquarius where it wasn't well placed, now into Pisces where it's slightly peregrine, but it's a good time of the year. It's a more sensitive time, and the Sun is doing okay in Pisces. On the 1st of March, Venus moves into Aquarius, and this will bring a more group-oriented, dare I say, flavour to money and romance. On March the 6th, Uranus moves into Taurus. Now it did this last year for the first time in 7 years, and then it went back into Aries. It's now coming back into Taurus for the final stretch through Taurus, which will last around 7 years. So we're now fully into the Uranus in Taurus situation, and I did a video on that here, and we can check that out. You can check that out later on. On March the 20th, the Sun enters Aries. So this is the spring equinox if you're in the northern hemisphere, and the autumn equinox if you're in the southern hemisphere. When any planet crosses zero Aries, and particularly the Sun, it signals the start of the astrological year as the Sun cycles through the signs. Aries is the first sign of the zodiac, or 0 degrees Aries is known as the Aries point, and it's a very sensitive position in the zodiac. It's the beginning of the new cycle for the Sun. Interestingly enough, March the 21st is typically celebrated as International Astrology Day, which is a great thing when astrologers get together and party and have group meetings and bake cakes and say hi to their friends or what have you. But this year it's actually happening on the 20th because of the way planets are moving. Bearing in mind also these are times and dates for universal time, which is GMT. On March 26th, Venus moves into Pisces. This is a good position for Venus. Venus is exalted in Pisces. Romance will go well. It'll all be squidgy and all fun, and a very pleasant time all round. On March 31st, Mars moves from Taurus, where it wasn't well placed in detriment, into Gemini. So now it's been freed up a little bit, and in Gemini there will be more competition for, I don't want to say arguments, but people will want to have the final word, and conversations may get a little competitive now. So let's have a look at April. On April the 17th, Mercury moves into Aries, again crossing that 0 Aries, crossing over the start of the zodiac. This is a relatively neither here nor there position for Aries, but conversations will move forward too. On April the 20th, the Sun moves into Taurus, so it's moving out of Aries where it was exalted into Taurus where it's peregrine just for that month. Then on April the 20th as well, Venus will move into Taurus, which is its home sign, well placed in dignity, and love and particularly finances will be improved at this point. So let's have a look at May 2019. On May the 6th, Mercury is going to move into Taurus, so conversations will now start to, because Taurus is very much to do with finances and this is what it's about, going to be concerned with values and finances, and it does depend which sign you are, but Mercury isn't not particularly well placed or in a bad way there, so all things should be good. On May the 16th, Mars moves into Cancer from Gemini. Mars isn't particularly well placed in Cancer either, but it'll just be a generally active month. On May the 21st, the Sun moves into Gemini. It's the chatty period. It's the final sign for the spring period in the north. I'm talking to you from Vancouver. Yes, it's Northern Hemisphere centric. Sorry about that, guys. And then also on the 21st, just after the Sun, Mercury will move into Gemini as well. Now, this is a good position for Mercury. Mercury rules Gemini. It's in dignity here. It can be powerful. Not only that, the Sun's there already. So it's going to be a very busy time from May the 21st onwards. So let's have a look at June 2019. On June the 4th, Mercury moves into Cancer. So it's coming out of its own sign, which is where it was well placed, into Cancer. And that will just create a shift and a little slowdown even on thinking, conversations and making deals. On June the 9th, Venus moves into Gemini. So it was in Taurus where it was well placed, into Gemini where it's peregrine. It's neither here, neither there, a neutral position for Venus. On June 27th, Mercury is charging into Leo, so a little bit more extravagant. Maybe the conversations are going to get longer and the fish are going to get bigger, the ones that got away, and longer stories will come forth. Let's have a look at July. On July the 1st, Mars is moving into Leo. July the 1st is also Canada Day, so we'll be celebrating that, hopefully with fireworks. On July the 3rd, Venus moves into Cancer, just in time for the US Independence Day. Family, roots and home, one will want to love them now. So then on the 19th, Mercury slips back into Cancer because it's actually a little retrograde from Leo back into Cancer, just for a little while. On July 23rd, the Sun moves into Leo. Woohoo! The Sun rules Leo. I'm a Leo. It's a great time of the year. It's usually the time in the north where it's usually a time when the weather's very warm and people take vacations. It's a leisurely time of the year. Festivals happen and so on. On July 28th, Venus moves into Leo. It will be joining the Sun later and adding to love and romance and easy breezy affairs going on there. For August, on August 11th, Mercury goes back into Leo for the second house, giving it a second go to go through the fire sign, and it will want to catch up with the Venus and the Sun already there. So it's very much a Leo time of the year, time for parties, relaxing and pleasant things. The energy shifts again as on August the 18th, Mars now moves into Virgo. On August the 21st, Venus goes into Virgo. Now this is its position of fall. It's not particularly well placed here because Venus in Virgo can make you kind of want to pick over your partner and cause some tension there, or just nitpicking away and grinding away at your loved one. So you've got to watch out for that. August 23rd, the Sun's leaving Leo, its home sign, and moving into Virgo. On August 29, Mercury moves into Virgo to catch up with the Sun there too, and this is a good position for Mercury. Mercury rules Virgo. It's well placed here. It's happy to be attending to all the information, all the details, paying attention to things that are slipping past that during the Leo period when it was all just a big party. Now we're going to be attending to the details. This will be a good time of the year as well, as the planets will start to move through Virgo, and it generally starts to signal the early part of the back to school period. Let's have a look at September. So on the 14th, Mercury is moving into Libra. It was in Virgo for a very short period where it was comfortable. Now it's going into Libra. On the same day, on September 14th, Venus moves into Libra. Now this is an excellent position for Venus because Venus rules Libra and it is well placed here. And this is its sign of love, whereas Taurus was the one more of finance. This is the one of love. It's a good time to get married when Venus is in Libra. Your marriage will withstand. Good time to make commitments of love and build on your romantic relationships. On September the 23rd, the Sun will move into Libra. This is the indication. It's the equinox, the autumnal equinox, and it signals the start of autumn in the northern hemisphere and of course spring in the southern hemisphere. So in October, on the 3rd, Mercury goes into Scorpio. Conversations are going to get a little deeper. Thinking is going to be more profound. One is going to want to think before you speak, and perhaps that can be a good thing too. On October the 4th, Mars moves into Libra. This is not a good place for Mars. Mars is in detriment here. Mars is because it rules Aries, so it's opposite Libra. And this shows that there can be competition and aggravation within relationships. On October the 8th, Venus slips out of Libra, where it was well placed, into Scorpio, where it definitely isn't well placed. This is a very difficult transition. It's gone from being super well placed to super not well placed. And again, with Mars there too, you've got this situation where romances are going to be challenged during October. On October the 23rd, the Sun moves into Scorpio. This is actually quite a good move because it was in fall in Libra, and it's in a way where issues of individuality within relationships are now changing into personal understanding, which is always a good time when the Sun is in Scorpio. So moving on to November, on the 1st of November, Venus moves into Sagittarius. So that is totally a lighter move altogether, more airy-fairy, more outgoing. There's one who can have wider ideas about where you're going to go with your relationships. On November 19th, Mars goes into Scorpio. This is its home sign. It's well placed here. It's happy to be intense, profound, transformative, and there will be energy around for everyone during this transit to almost reinvent themselves or wherever this occurs in your chart. On November the 22nd, the Sun moves into Sagittarius. Also, it's a fire sign. It's not particularly well placed, but it's a good position for the Sun. So it's kind of a happy time for most people. On November 26th, Venus goes into Capricorn, bringing a more somber feel to romances and finances, bringing a more feeling that we really ought to take more responsibility for things. So it's a bit of a slowdown there for love and romance. So then we get to December 2019. On the 2nd of December, probably the biggest move this year, apart from the Uranus going back into Taurus, is that Jupiter is moving into Capricorn. Now Jupiter will have been in its own sign of Sagittarius for the whole of 2019. We have all benefited from growth and vision and the ability to be inspired and move our lives forward. And now there's going to be a change of energy as Jupiter moves into Capricorn. I will talk a lot more about this next year. Things are now going to be slightly more, we're going to want to formalize what we've done, how far we've come. We're going to want to maybe document it and also in a way bring some further restrictions in so we're not stretching ourselves too thin. We'll actually be able to put up a few boundaries and sort things out. So that's quite a big shift for 2019. And when I think about it, I want to say it's probably the biggest move, the biggest ingress for 2019, Jupiter moving into Capricorn. On December the 9th, Mercury goes into Sagittarius. Not well placed there. It's opposite the Gemini. This is a time when your mouth can run off and you can tell things you're not supposed to, not necessarily untruths, but gossip will abound, and you do need to try and curb your tongue and make sure that what you are talking about and messages you are giving are not exaggerations or other people's affairs. There's a knack to managing the time when Mercury passes through Sagittarius. On December the 20th, Venus will move into Aquarius, so it's come out of slightly restrictive Capricorn, going into Aquarius to give a lighter feel over the holiday season. It will be that romance might be very casual, people you meet over the Christmas time and the New Year period romantically. It may not be going anywhere, that will only come in 2020, but there's definitely opportunities will abound for romance at this time. On December the 22nd, the sun moves into Capricorn. This is the winter solstice if you're in the north, and the summer solstice if you're in the south. So it really is the beginning of winter. It really does get very cold now. It's the 21st. It used to be known as Saturnalia because Saturn rules Capricorn. But it shows that we're getting right into the Christmas, we're getting into the new year. Winter has come, and it's a time to be, I don't say more wrapped up, make sure that you're, particularly here in the north, you've got to be wrapped up. It gets pretty darn cold out, and layer upon layer and limitations will be imposed upon you during this time. Of course, in the southern hemisphere it's different. When I lived in Africa during these summers, it was so baking hot. Again, you were limited because you had to make sure that you had enough hydration, that you had your sunscreen, and that you spent more time in the air conditioning, I think. And then our final ingress for 2019, gosh, it's been a long list. On the 29th of December, Mercury moves into Capricorn. So this indicates it's often a good time when you go into the New Year period. We're talking about New Year 2020 now, that with Mercury's in Capricorn, it's always a good time to get your New Year's resolutions organized, get your plans for the new year. And if you've only been working on them up until this point, from the 29th onwards, you can write them down, make some commitments, talk about what your plans are going to be, organize your life, get things in place so that you can then face 2020 with confidence. So I'd love to hear from you. Let me know which you think is going to be the most important planetary ingress for you for 2019. You can write it in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. It's been a lot of fun sharing the ingresses with you. I also want to tell you that this particular 2019 overview is in several parts. This was the ingresses, what we looked at now, which we looked at now. I'm also going to be putting a piece out on the retrogrades of 2019 and the eclipses, and perhaps even more items. And they'll be coming up in forthcoming videos, so make sure to catch them as well. I will put this up part of a playlist as it grows, so you can fully see what's going on through the planetary movements for 2019. The idea of looking at ingresses is, from an astrological point of view, is that as these shifts change and the tides coming in, the tides going out, you too can make adjustments and make sure that you do. If you don't need to do it on Thursday and there's a good move happening on Friday, make sure you're doing what you're supposed to be doing on Friday. If you work in alignment with the transits and the ingresses, you'll find that life becomes much easier. It's as I often say, you can't be surfing in when the tide's going out. So make sure you catch the right tide for you, for what you're trying to do in your life in 2019, and catch that wave as it comes into the shore. So there it is. This is the 2019 overview. There's going to be a few videos coming through, and I hope you're going to enjoy them all. I've created a handy Starzology 2019 Astrologers Guide that shows the ingresses, retrogrades and eclipses, and you can download a copy on the link below this video. This is a great resource for you. Please subscribe, like and share with anyone who would love to see this video. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. I also like to share with you some information about what do astrologers do all day. So here we are actually in Vancouver. I've been doing a little bit of starting my Christmas shopping. I want to show you some of the lights in the main street there in Robson Street. It's getting very crisp. This is just as the sun set. It really was a fabulous evening, and we enjoyed it very much indeed. I was out there with my daughter. Yeah.